don't know if you guys have heard about it recently, but there's been a little bit of a skirmish on an Eastern European border.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
A couple of countries you might have heard of, Russia and the Ukraine, are out there having a little bit of a problem. Now, there's a lot of interesting facets to this, and I'm not going to go into every little piece of it, but there are a couple of things that I think are kind of interesting in how all of this has transpired. First of all, I'm sure you guys have heard me talk it several times about ships in the night. Right? And basically what that means is people whose entire identity is rooted in a political party. When that political party changes their standpoint, they just go right along with it and wait for mommy and daddy to tell them what to think, even if it's in direct opposition to the previous one.
Antithesis of what they were believing
right.
before.
All it really says is that people who live like that don't even have real morals, you know? Like, look at this right here. Russia tests the American left. Yeah. Twitter commie's been a little bit quiet here recently, friends. Again, without someone telling people what to think, a lot of people don't know what to do. Luckily for people who blindly follow any political party, there'll always be some asshole to tell you what you're supposed to be doing. They just go right along with it. Don't be a tanky. How the left should respond to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And by the way, it says your duty now is to stand by the people of Ukraine as they resist Russian state terrorism. Now, here's the thing, guys.
Wow.
Whether you agree with that sentiment or not, realistically is not my concern.
It's who's saying it.
It's the fact that somebody's going, hey, everybody who supports this general form of an ideology, you all need to think exactly the same thing. Don't question it for yourself. Don't look into it at all and try to figure out what you actually think. We'll do that part for you. And not only that, we'll tell you that it's your fucking duty to be that way so that dissenters can be cast out. And now here's the thing, man. Okay, you got to support Ukraine. You have to. You have to support them because Russia bad. I know you like communism, but Russia bad. You have to support Ukraine. But they're conflicted over there because the Ukrainian government also just giving out guns to people, man. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. I've seen a lot of anti-gun people real happy about this. Super happy about this.
They went ships in the night so fast. And I'll tell you.
Again, though, that's another one of those. But this time it's okay.
Oh, no, now it's okay. Yeah.
You have no backbone. You have no morals.
Right. Now, why they chose to put a fake firearm in the picture, I don't know. Maybe because they wanted the picture of the girl, I guess. What I'm saying is, because of how all of this stuff is shifted, you've got people that are usually very ingrained in one side or the other within the scope of American political pundits being very confused on who they want to support, or, you know what I mean? They don't know what the fuck to do. Luckily, there will always be brands.
Oh, boy.
To come in and try to tell you what to think. This week, calls have come out to boycott Coca Cola.
What?
Because they refuse to pull out of Russia. You're telling me Russian people are not allowed to drink Coca-Cola?
But
wait, is this not the same company you were cheering less than a fucking year ago?
They put rainbow flags on their stuff earlier. Who am I supposed to support now, G?
Oh, so you're saying that just changing your fucking marketing doesn't in fact win the hearts of anybody? It's just a corporation going, hey, we found a demographic that spends a lot of money. Let's appeal to them.
When the chips are down.
And that when the chips are down, these soda companies will eat each other. Why start them at a deficit in this way and cost an American company more money? I don't know that makes sense.
Because when they're through with you, they'll cast you out. Like a leper.
Like a leper. And of course, there's plenty of quote-unquote journalism to back this up. McDonald's, Pepsi, and others should consider pausing Russia operations. You want to call this a glitch? Your glitch could cost us $50 million in interest payments alone. New York Pension Fund. How much do you want to bet Coca-Cola is one of the contributors there? Because they said, don't drink Coke. And then all of a sudden there's, don't drink Pepsi.
Right.
Right. So let's remember how ineffective alteration of branding to appeal to a demographic is, and also how ineffective small-term boycotting is. Neither of those things make any kind of real change. All right? Let's move forward on this a little bit. U.S. weighs cutting Russian oil imports amid broad public support. Okay, broad public support's a little bit of a vague term. But the idea of the United States importing oil, I think, has long been something we've been looking for an excuse to deal with. There's all kind of fucking capped oil right here in Texas.
Sure.
Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm fucking saying, man. Okay, you've got what they call broad public support for pulling away from importing Russian oil, which, for the record, I support pulling away from importing oil. And it's not even about their border dispute. I would have told you the exact same thing a year ago. If your question to me is, hey, should we stop importing oil and start using domestic oil? Yes. The answer to that is yes.
Yes. Absolute. Why wouldn't we?
Well, the only reason we wouldn't is because we're too stupid to turn on the nuclear plants, which really is what we should be doing.
And there's a lot of people making money. There's a lot of people
we
making
do live
money
in oil and gas
that
that
are in power that aren't going to want to give that money up.
Oh,
man.
Interesting. You should phrase it that way. Let's continue. Not only the citizens, but lawmakers on both sides. I hate to say that this is what it took, but for once, I'm glad to see the left and the right on the same page here. Guys, can we stop importing this? And what did I tell y'all at the beginning of the fucking pandemic? We have found out the hard way what happens when domestic manufacturing is at an all-time low.
Yup.
And there are continued effects of that. It hurt us there. We didn't make a change. It's hurting us here. We haven't made a change. We've got to recognize that domestic manufacturing is one of the building blocks we need to create a new era of economic prosperity in the United States. Now, am I a macroeconomist? No, but it doesn't take a fucking genius to see what a difference stuff like that would make.
You're damn right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, you're damn right. Absolutely.
God forbid we have enough jobs. You know what I mean?
Right? Oh.
So we've seen that the public wants to pull out of importing Russian oil, and so do lawmakers on both sides of it. Guess who don't want to? Lawmakers push to ban Russian oil imports amid White House resistance. It says right here, the White House is opposed, warning of energy price spikes. First of all, we're not in the middle of an energy price spike. That's not already happening. Who bought gas this week? Like I did after I left the tax place. It hurt. It hurt, man.
Rough, man.
Surprise. So what I'm suggesting we do in order to deal with losing this import is use what we currently call strategic petroleum reserves, okay? We uncap that shit to make sure we can choke out the opposition and still do our fucking gimmicks. You know what I mean?
Yep, you're not wrong.
Is that not what this is? Jesus
100%.
Christ, what are you waiting on? If you wait until it's missiles, it's too late. Because what would be the first place you'd bomb?
A petroleum reserve.
You mean a really valuable resource that's also flammable? Point me at it. Now, meanwhile, of course, as obvious as stuff like this seems to you or me or most people with more than 3 brain cells to rub together, there's always a push against it. You know what I mean? There's always people who love to use this as their little virtue signal to come out with things that are massively misphrased in order to confuse and send people down the wrong path. And also never labeled misinformation or pulled from Spotify. No. Oil and gas lobbyists are using Ukraine to push for a drilling free-for-all in the U.S.
Wow.
This article goes on to talk about capitalist propaganda and all of this bullshit, but that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is using the SPR that we already have. Not a drilling free-for-all. You fucking dummies.
Well, when they say that, it makes
knuckleheads.
me want to just say, drill, baby, drill.
It kind of does, man.
Oh,
you
God.
know? You know what would be really interesting if we were able to cut them off, starve them out, tank their prices, and then buy up all their shit on pennies for the dollar and just hold sway over them like they trying to do to
That's
us.
some shrewd business, man.
Wouldn't that be a fucking idea?
That's shrewd as shit.
Well, guess what, friends? right here at home in Texas. Shell buys cargo of Russian crude loading mid-March from Trafigura. They did exactly that. Prices dipped. Shell said, fuck you, and bought them out, man. God damn it. God damn it, son.
Oh, man.
You want to piss them off, that's a good way to fucking do it.
Yeah.
But, you know, there'll always be somebody to bitch. Like these misleading-ass type of fucking headlines. The U.S. imports oil and petroleum from Russia, but it's not a major source. Oh, that makes it okay? That makes it okay? Yeah, it's like 7 to 9%. It's not a lot. But any amount is more than zero. And coming from the kind of crowd that assumes that every little bit makes a difference, now you're telling me this ain't enough to worry about? This is like people that try to tell you things like a 15% margin of error is an acceptable prediction model. It's fucking not, man. Yep. Who tries to convince you that this is about something other than a resource war? Well, of course, you look for the person that'll benefit, and I am the walrus.
I am the walrus.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly, man. Surprise! Stocks are surging as Russia-Ukraine conflict rages on for Lockheed Martin, Northrop, Raytheon. Oh, surprise!
What did I say? What did I say? Like last week even.
Mm-hmm.
Better buy some fucking stock in Lockheed Martin.
Yep, exactly, man. And guess what? They love it. Top weapons companies boast Ukraine-Russia tensions are a boon for business.
Of course. Of course they are. They make the weapons.
Now, I'll tell you, man, I am in many ways pro-war profiteering because of pro-free market. You know what I mean? Should you have some morality in your decisions? Realistically, that's up to you. Dollars are about dollars. So I don't hate the idea of selling to both sides. I don't love it. But I think that to have a truly free market, that would eventually have to be something you just fucking let slide, man. If you wanted to make a choice, then somebody who sells to the other side loses your business. You have to be a bigger profit margin than the other guys are in order to win.
Well, let me ask you this. Is Lockheed Martin and Raytheon selling to Russia and Ukraine any different, really, than McDonald's continuing to sell in Russia?
No, I don't think so. Although, I will say, in market-wise, it's the same. Outcome-wise, it's different because you're talking about selling weapons directly to the government, not allowing citizens the choice of goods to consume.
True.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So there is a difference there. What I'm saying is that the idea of selling your goods wherever the fuck you want to sell them, whether those are shitty chicken nuggets or whether those are laser-guided missile defense systems, you should have the option to do it. What I'm getting at is that I don't like the idea of them pretending that it's about something else, because it's fucking not. Looking to choke the other side out when it comes to resources is the only way to win, and in order to do that, everybody loses. Everybody loses in war, but you lose more. That's really all we're trying to do right here. So the next step in this is the recognition that Ukraine is fighting the Russians with weapons made in Troy, Alabama. Okay, right? So whatever side you support here, whether or not the U.S. government is taking a particular stance, whether or not they're being helpful in moving forward on all this, American defense contractors are absolutely selling guns out there. Mm-hmm. They're absolutely selling guns out there.
100%.
So, in an effort for everybody to be able to choke out the other guy while still making as much money as possible, and by the way, if an American company is selling in another country, does that money not come back to the States?
Bang.
Right? How many times have I heard people bitch about, oh, these guys are sending money back to their own countries? All right, then let's go take it back. Let's go sell them Coca Cola and Levi's and Budweiser and Marlboro and Lockheed Martin and Boeing, and fuck them. Let's take the money.
Takes the money.
Take the money.
Yes.
And while we're taking the money, you want to win a war for resources, you also have to make sure yours is not being taken. So what the fuck does Russia try to do next? Oh, they want to cut us off. Russia halts rocket engine deliveries to the U.S. You telling me we're not even making our own spaceships in this country?
Wow. What do we make here?
So
Mouth breathers?
What we make here is culture. That's our primary export: music, movies, TV.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yep. That's all we make anymore, realistically.
Wow.
So, what did we learn from this, friends? We've learned that bullshit like branding is not effective. Bullshit like small-level protests is not effective. Bullshit like pretending war profiteering is something you care about when you obviously don't is not effective. And attempting to choke out the United States isn't either. But if they're cutting us off from fucking rockets, then what I said before holds true. If you want to win this war, we need a return to American manufacturing, and that's the whale's honest truth, whether you're dead or alive.